I'm Annette Pasternak, the Stop Skin Picking Coach, and I'm here today with Christina Pearson. She is the founder and for more than 2 decades, the founding director of the Trichotillomania Learning Center. 3 years ago, Christina founded the Heart and Soul Academy, where she teaches mindfulness-based impulse reduction courses for those of us with body-focused repetitive behaviors.
The hair pulling was the first thing that erupted. At 13, I pulled out all the hair on the top of my head and really freaked myself and my family out. Kind of went through a lot of changes right then. We moved, stuff happened. At 15 is when I started picking my skin. And I was in a public restroom, and I had been out in the jungle. I'd been like out in the woods and stuff for a number of weeks. And I saw I had this big old blackhead on right in the middle of my cheek. And it was like, to me, it was like a neon sign in that mirror. And it was so interesting because I'd never really paid attention to my skin. But all of a sudden, wham, I was right up against that mirror in that public restroom. And my boyfriend was outside, and finally he's pounding on the door. Are you alive? Are you okay? Because I was trying to get this thing out. And that began a process for the next 18 years, where I would pull my hair, pick my skin. I would go back and forth. And so I went through my later teens. Sometimes I wouldn't want to leave the house because I looked like I had chicken pox. I would take a needle and really, really get at my face. And it's funny because when I would be up against the mirror and really see the landscape of my dermis, I felt like it was I had to explore it, I had to excavate it, I had to put it in order. And I always felt that both of these behaviors were like neurological housework or busy work, putting things in order. But I was absolutely devastated by the realities of nobody around me did this. I did know that other people picked their skin because I saw evidence of it. I did not know that anybody, but I didn't know they picked their skin like me, seriously and focused and all of that. And the hair pulling, I was sure I was the only freak on the planet that did this. I was told when I was very young that I was quite intelligent and that I could do just about anything I wanted, but I couldn't. I couldn't stop my body from engaging in these behaviors. I didn't have the language, either externally or internally. And I had the willingness, but I did not have the language, and I did not know where to look for help. Well, I'll be gosh darned, one morning I had this horrible binge. I'd been up late the night before, crying and crying. That morning I was really I'd had it. I said, okay, if this is my life and this is a part of my life, I'm not going to hide it anymore. And I started telling people I have this problem. And within days, feedback started coming in. Amazing things began happening. And I'll just say that, on a developmental level, it's kind of like that old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And I guess I was ready for a real transformative process, because not only did I learn that there were other people that did what I did, I learned there were millions of us, and I learned that there were no resources. There was nothing out there to help us. In fact, most people, if they knew about it and they weren't doing it themselves, they're like, you must be cracked, you must be crazy, So for me, it was unacceptable that there were no resources. And as a result of a lot of different kind of changes and telling people about what happened, I got a telephone call one day that said, Christina, my name is Janelle Fiorito, and I'm from Channel 4 News in Seattle, and we're doing a show on Tuesday about the trichotillomania, and we know you pull your hair and want to know if you'd be willing to speak about it. And I thought to myself, how do they have my home number? And two, how do they know what I do? And oh my God. Anyways, it was a very convoluted story how she got my number. But she did. I flew up there. I did this little show with two other women. We were arguing in the little back room about how truthful to be because, there's things you want to share and things you don't. So what happened was I did the show, and I because I had an answering service and a voicemail system at the time, I took a telephone number with me, and I just said, put this up as Trichotillomania hotline, and I'll be damned. When I got home, I had over 600 messages that evening, and over the following week, I got these calls, and people were desperate and crying. Well, it cost over $1,000 to call people back, but the benefit was it was the best therapy I ever did because I was hearing out of other people's mouths my experience. And when that happens for humans, there's a sense of connectivity that is profoundly relieving because although we're told we're not alone, it's very different than the direct experience of other people get what's going on.